Mr. Keith Gross, Dillon's Power Washing.
What's going down?
Not much, buddy. Thanks for coming on the podcast, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. So we've been talking about it for a while. Been working together for a while.
Yes,
at least a year or so.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, about your business, and what y'all do.
Sure. Nothing really special about me. I'm a Calvert County native. One thing about my business, about 5 years I've been in ownership of Dillon's Power Wash, and you kind of notice kind of the backstory. I had a brother-in-law that started it almost 20 years ago, and then I took over ownership, me and my wife, and been driving it ever since. The brand of the business changed once me and my wife got involved because he really had no brand other than a good name, Dillon's. So we loved staying with the name and just took the brand into a whole nother level. So to date, that's kind of where we are. Just to back up, my official background is culinary arts. Done culinary for many years. Before Dillon's, I was a store manager for Whole Foods Market. So that's kind of where I bring the whole marketing, the more, financially driven elements to the business.
Yeah, so you work for a big company.
Yes.
In a whole different industry.
Totally different industry.
Yeah. So how'd that change come about, man? You just saw an opportunity and jumped on it, or?
Well, it's funny because I always tell folks the universe will take you where you need to go. I did a lot of work on personal development, let's say over a decade ago. Before this change came, I left Whole Foods before this opportunity presented itself, to be honest. It was just like, hey, I had enough of the corporate life.
Right.
It owned me. It took me away from my family, and this gave me the opportunity to get back to my family once I left. But then coming in ownership of business takes you away from your family in the building phase. So we kind of went through every side of it, but I always wanted to be the owner. And the opportunity came and just kind of ran with it.
Cool, man. Why did you make that change? Was it the corporate world or was it the culinary world? I mean, what made you want to get away from it?
So the corporate world is different.
Right.
It's you have cliques and things of that nature. Not to really talk bad or negative about it, but I just got in a situation after going to the top of the food chain. It was like, you know what, enough is enough now. I had took on a store. I know you probably made press. The Georgetown store in D.C. had a pest infestation. I was sent to that store probably a month ahead of that situation happening. And it just became where I became a project manager, working the crazy nights. We had started a unauthorized construction. The store got shut down. Then after I closed the store, I was sent to another store to open the store. So it was just a lot of long hours. I was kind of beat. Then I kind of felt like I got blackballed for a position. And so it just wasn't looking good in my favor. And I was like, I had enough. So I left before the acquisition with Amazon, just about 6 to 8 months before the acquisition.
Okay. Yeah, so I didn't know about that. I didn't know that Amazon took over Whole Foods.
Yeah, they own them.
Wow. And that was what, 5 or 6 years ago?
To date, yeah, about 6.5 years ago.
I got you. And then was it an immediate transition to Dillon's, or?
No, I actually went to work as a food service director at the La Plata jail. I had a friend. I was looking for a job. I was unemployed, which had never happened to me since I was a kid. I've always had a job since I can even think, since I was old enough to work. So did that for a little bit. I also have a barber's license. I cut hair in a few barbershops, just trying to fill the need. My wife was a breadwinner. My wife actually, at that time, she has a master's of nursing. So she was like, look, just come home. We'll figure this out. So she kind of held things together, working as the manager of the ER in Georgetown University. So we had some stability, but I was just trying to figure some things out at that point. And then, we lost a family member, unfortunately, but I felt like it was a shift. Some things shifted, and we was able to get in a position to drive it.
Well, that's cool, man. I mean, I've seen, just being local in the county, man, I've seen the transition and, like, the growth that you guys have had over the last few years. And it's cool to see, man. I think you're doing good with the business. And tell us a little bit about the services that you got going on right now.
So currently, this is one of our most exciting years, to be honest, because we are adding another service. So right now we're specializing in exterior pressure washing services. Most people know the soft wash. Dillon's is known for doing a low pressure wash, and what makes that special is we can use a regular power washer and still hit 40 to 50 feet heights, utilizing different tips and things of that nature. And it's the same thing as using the soft washes, but it's just the difference of play on machines. So we've been able to utilize both of them in unison to achieve the results that we're currently getting. So we do exterior window cleaning, interior and exterior window cleaning. We do deck standing and sealing, wood restoration, and that just cleaning wood, bringing it back to new without harming it. We're expanding this year into more interior stuff. We have a really solid team on hand right now that we're really confident in moving into the next realm of our painting, so that we have year-round work, not just seasonal work. We also do concrete restoration services, cleaning concrete. And we also seal concrete as well. A lot of people tend to clean it, but they don't preserve it, right, and make it so that it won't have stains and things will go in it. We're also doing seal coating this year. That's what I'm excited about. Putting that protectant on your asphalt.
So that's a whole different setup. That's like a whole new industry kind of for
you. Totally different. It's kind of like, I'm sure I'm gonna beat you with your next question, but why seal coating? It's in our current market, customers are not able to get someone out to fill their needs fast enough in that industry. Right. The startups are much higher. Along with, the products and materials are harder to deal with, if you're using coal tar, it can burn you and things like that. So the knowledge is not really there. And this is something I've been working on probably for the past 3 years, just educating myself, trying to figure out when was the right time to do this. But we want to make sure that we bring that same service that Dillon's is known for, at least getting back to customers, getting that estimate to them, and then also getting out and doing great quality work at a great price.
Yeah. Well, I know the few times that I've used you on jobs, whether it's for me personally or for my customers, you guys done a great job, man.
Thank you.
From the office personnel and the scheduling all the way down to the quality of work was good. And I think that your industry, and it's same for mine, I mean, it's kind of a lot of people, you have a lot of competition because a lot of people can get into it, but they lack the professionalism that it takes to take it to the next level. So, I mean, do you see a lot of that, like trying to compete with people that are doing it on the weekends or just a guy in a pickup truck? Or, I mean, how do you kind of set yourself apart? And do you find that to be like a problem?
Setting us apart, it's for me, I don't see it being a problem because I study our competition very closely. Right. I'm not really interested in being number one. I just want to be relevant for 50-plus years. And what keeps us relevant is, doing the little things. And, yes, my competition might not be great at communication. That's something I learned, just in business in general, running a Fortune 500 company, you got to communicate. And so the customer is number one. Whole Foods, taught me that, take care of the customer by any means. And I brought that to Dillon. So, making sure when they make contact to us, we get back to them quickly. Right. And whoever they make contact with, that they're personable and they're professional. And then also, making sure that we're, pricing is also in the right place, because right now everybody's either trying to save or they want someone that can give them the great work. Because I want the customer that is looking for me. Every customer is not my customer, but the customer that is looking for me, that's who I'm interested in doing business with.
That's right. Yeah, man. No, I think that's a great point. And you gotta set yourself apart. Like, you gotta take a stance and say, look, this is how we're gonna do business. I'm gonna do it this way, and that's it. Like, you gotta kind of have like your standard operating procedures, man.
That's the line.
You gotta draw the line.
Yeah,
yep.
That's it.
And I think a lot of people that are in industries like ours, I mean, they don't do that. They might make a few dollars for a year or two, but then they fall off the bandwagon, and the customer service starts to go down, or whatever, or they don't make good on a job where they might have made a mistake or something like that, and then it you quickly get a bad reputation in the community. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And we're in a small town, and also me being a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and also now I'm actually on the board of the Chamber. I just took my seat in this past November.
Right.
But having access where people can actually call up or look up and say, hey, this person is representing my community. And that's important to me for someone to know that we're going to take care of them.
Right.
And that they know that we got their best interests. And you make a good point where folks will fall off. And one thing that I feel like, I'm bringing from because I have had stores that had 350 team members. So one thing that I always was great at was identifying talent in people. And that's kind of what I do in our community. I find other business people in other businesses that are starting up, and I kind of take them under my wing and work with them and coach them and keep them close and slowly help them grow. And then there's other individuals in the community that do the same for myself, such as yourself, being around longer and having stability. Hey, check this out. Also sharing contacts with us and helping us grow. And those are the things that we appreciate.
Yeah, man, the whole networking thing. I mean, really, that's the reason for me doing this podcast, man. It's just the networking thing. It's like, your people see this, my people see this, then we just start sharing the connections and who's working with who and who's good people, who to stay away from, And it goes down to little stuff, man. Even like, hey, I need some work on one of my trucks. What mechanic you use?
Yeah.
And that goes a long way, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
You're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a important part of just the small business world, man. And I'm just curious, was it like that in the corporate world? Like, would you talk to other big businesses or other big, chains and be like, hey, man, I got this problem. What would you do? Or what are y'all doing?
It's crazy you say that, man, because in what I was doing as a store manager, no. In my opinion, I felt like, the Whole Foods was ahead of I didn't look at any other stores. Yeah, we made it in a comp shop, like a Trader Joe's was one of our competition, but they didn't look like us. They just had a hodgepodge. So I did not worry a lot about those competitions. Yes, running a store, I had to look at cannibalization and, our stores being closed. Also, new stores that were coming in, what we're doing to combat them. So we have a lot of meetings with my regional RVPs and things of that nature to make sure that we had the right plan of attack and looking at key items, running our top movers to make sure that they had the right pricing, or we changed pricing to combat our competition. So no, there was no conversations like we're helping each other grow in a different realm. I think big business and small business, in my opinion, and you can put that dollar amount on what defines either. I just think they're totally two different monsters at the end of the day. They operate differently. The CEOs might talk, but from a personnel perspective, there's no conversation.
Right, you're not talking to each other, trying to help each other out.
No, there ain't no help. We're trying to smash you.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. You're trying to get them out of the way so that you can bring more value to your store, which either yields you more money or the corporation more money.
Right. Yeah, and I guess that's direct competition, though. Like you and I, we're not direct competition to each other.
No.
So I guess that is a little different.
It's crazy because I think about like this, right? If we can, there are other guys, like, for example, Dr. Clean is local. And there are opportunities where, like I say, we want the customer that wants us. There are opportunities that we could potentially work together on projects, I think.
Right.
I could help him with marketing. I met a guy, Precision Power Wash, and Derek Dean in St. Mary's County. I'm deliberate about going and talking to guys. I feel like I see a pressure washing down there, like, okay, that's Dillon's. What do we, there may be some things I can share, some things you can share. Like on my Instagram page, I got pressure washers all over the country. And one of my closest friends on there, his name is Ralph. He's Houston Power Washers in Texas. Old cat, just out here grinding. But we talk all the time, and I've been able to give him a lot of things to help his business. Right. So I think if we can be great at sharing and not looking at it as a threat, I feel like the universe will provide us in the future. I think you got to give to get.
That's great, man. I mean, I think that being able to talk to people in your industry all over the country with technology, man, that's huge,
Man, yes.
And I think that's new. I mean, that's only been around for, 10 or 15 years probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's cool that people, like you said, that dude on Instagram, he's an old guy still doing that, so he sees the value in it.
Yes.
And your marketing background, kind of talk about that and like what you do with like Dillon's and what you do with the marketing and how you try to set you guys apart from other pressure washers and stuff like that.
That's huge for Dillon's, to be honest. Our marketing. So in my past, on every Monday we would have team leader meetings. I would sit with every department in the store. We would go through their financials. We'd go over their sales. We'd go over their marketing for the store. But I always also had a marketing team leader, and that person was in charge of anything marketing for the store. And so I learned a lot because one, that individual bring their ideas. It's not only about what I want to see, it's about their skill set. And so one thing I like doing is playing to the people's skill set. I had the ability, I understood food, and I love food. So I found out ways how I could get food in people's hands. Well, feed them. It's a no-brainer. You let them taste it, they're wow, okay, let me go purchase it. But how I was able to translate it into Dillon's is none of the local power washing companies I saw, their brands either didn't make sense. I always say, the colors on your brands, the name of your business does something, but people see it.
Right.
And so I work closely with a local guy named Cliff from Your Digital, can't call the name of Your Digital something. But Cliff is also a member of the chamber. That's who put together my logo for me. So for me, it was all about fonts and colors. I didn't want something crazy. To me, Dillon was this nice, it's my wife's maiden name, but it's a nice Irish strong name. Dillon's a name you can trust. It just made sense. So we just found out a guy with a gun, a power washing gun, made some nice colors, and it works. And we figured out, because when I first started, I just had letters.
Right.
Dillon's. And as we grew, I started to build a brand. I want to put the brand before anything. So most people don't even know I'm behind Dillon's. It doesn't even matter to me. It's about the brand. And so we wanted to get that brand on any and everything, on our clothing. Everybody had it on their uniforms, even though it may have been a printed, but everything looked the same. We put it on our trucks. Then we also started doing yard or road signs, and that's what changed the game for us. And coming soon, you're going to see us on some banners. I'm talking the big billboards.
Okay.
That's a game changer.
Up and down Route 4?
4, 301. It's going to be everywhere.
Shit. That's good, man.
Yeah, so it costs, but one thing that I try to pride myself in is putting more back into the business and paying myself less. Again, like I said, it's not about today. It's about 50 years down the road. So I'm willing to take a pay cut right now so we can grow a viable business and do what other guys are not doing. Not a shot at them because we all have a different goal in mind, but I'm not interested in just being around until I retire and then let it go to crap. I want to build something like a Costco that's around 50-plus years.
Right. I understand. Yeah, man, that's how you do it. Like, so the issue, or it's not an issue, but the problem that I run into with the marketing, right, is when you tend to put more money and more effort into the marketing when you are slow, right? Like this, my work's pretty seasonal, just like yours. So this time of year, you get ready for it, put some more money on Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever, and then you put money, you put money in it, you start promoting it, and then you get busy, and then you're like, shit, now I'm gonna keep up with all the work, and then it just comes in waves, right? Like you get so busy, you don't know how you're gonna do it all, and then you get slower, then you market some more, and then you try to keep up with the workload after that. And then, so how do you guys kind of manage that operation as far as staying consistent with the workload that you have and not overwhelming yourself at one time of the year and then falling short in other times? You know what I'm saying?
Two things I would say with that. I got away, COVID helped and hurt people. For me, it helped us. I felt like we did a lot of work in advance. So what I do is I got away from a lot of the digital stuff. You can pay, Instagram, Facebook, and throw what you want at it and hit who you want to hit. I was using Clipper and things in the beginning, and I got 3 guys in the same book, and all of our pricing 1 cent difference. And so I stopped doing that because I wasn't getting the return on my investment. So right now, the things I'm doing, such as going back to grassroots signs, sure, people don't want to see it, but a lot of people want to support their community.
Right.
I want that customer that feels like I want to keep my money in my community. That's who I'm targeting. Those are the people that's going to see McKenzie's trucks going down the road and figure out, hey, this guy's everywhere. I need to support him. I mean, I first saw you do my neighbor. When I didn't know you, I said, man, he got a nice truck.
Right.
Saw the guy with the cowboy hat on. I'm like, okay, who is he? Oh, I saw him. And then kind of by chance, we ended up start meeting and building a relationship. So I prioritize my work I break everything out by my trucks by the day, and my office make sure that we communicate so we can overwhelm. People will wait if you communicate.
Right.
Like, for example, unless they're selling a house or having a party, and we try to, we will work 6-7 days a week. We work Sunday sometimes. only because we want to meet the needs of our customers. So we will move things around to meet that need. So we try to be flexible on our side. If we put some marketing out and it overwhelms us, well, I have a team in play, or even myself. I'm not an apt to going out and shooting a house myself. You've seen me on jobs, training or doing work. So we'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. And it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, because, again, we're here to serve our community. So if I do invest money on a particular marketing, I'll make sure that we can make adjustments in our work schedule, our operations, to make it happen. But communication is number one.
So what kind of, and I agree with that 100%. Like this time of year with the weather, man, there's been a couple jobs I've had to put off. If we need machines in there and it's too wet, or you can't do it when snow's on the ground. But you just follow up with the people every week or, every so many days.
Yeah.
And they tend to understand, But when you do get like that influx of work that comes in, what kind of backlog do you try to keep? A week out, 2 weeks out? I mean, you know what I'm saying? How much work do you try to keep on the books?
Well, man, this year's been we went 38% over last year, so it was crazy. I was booking normally 2 weeks in advance.
Right.
We was getting booked. I think back in June last year, my books was full a month in advance. And what we did, we just started booking prior. We say, okay, is it urgent? So the question my assistant would ask, is it priority? Meaning you selling the house, you got a party going on.
Right.
So that you would see on a Saturday or a Sunday, we may have 4 to 8 jobs scheduled for that weekend. So yes, we make sure that everything's, when you call in and you book work with Dillon's, it goes automatically into a schedule. We start scheduling you, and anything scheduled out, we schedule it out. So it could be 4 weeks, it could be 2 weeks.
Right.
We try to get you on the schedule as soon as possible. But we told folks this year that they can get their things done when they wanted last year, schedule out. But this year we're prepared to have up to 5 trucks running at one time. So that, I feel like that'll meet the needs of our customers. I can push 3 trucks per day and give me what I need, but I have as many as 5 trucks to do what needs to be done.
Good. Yeah, that's good, man. I mean, and that's, in my business, that's been the hardest part, is juggling the marketing and pushing the sales, and then being able to take on the workload that you get and not have too much of a backlog.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the day-to-day
operation. Your work
operation.
is much more I'm looking at your work. You doing some serious stuff. You moving thousands and thousands of pounds of wood and rocks and.
Yeah. So it's a lot too, and it's weather dependent, you know. So you might be in the middle of a job, then you get a snowstorm, and then you got to pull off of that job, and then come back to it when it dries up. So I mean, it's a lot, you know. It's a juggling act. But that's really been my biggest, I would say, day-to-day struggle that I still put up with. You know, I'm still the one that does all the scheduling and does the schedule for each crew and each truck every day. And that's a hard task to kind of dish off on somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Said it again. You know, I'm finally in a place now where I'm not involved with it anymore.
Yeah, you were saying you hired a general manager a little while ago. So talk about that and how you kind of made that transition.
So I hired a general manager back in September, October-ish. Someone that I had been mentoring, coming from the beer industry, but had worked with us. You know, all of my signs and the way we do signs, he and I worked on that. Everybody does signs the way Dillon's do signs now. You know, 3s or 4s. You know, staggering them out. The whole nine. I see everybody is. You know, you see so many signs in one place now. I don't do them that way, but we would put our signs out kind of methodically the way we did our signs so that people.
I ain't gonna lie to you, dude. I see your signs everywhere, but 855 Tree Man killing the sign game too.
Oh, Tree Man is
he's direct competition to me. That's why I notice it. But
we do work for him too. Alex Wright, yeah. Good guy.
Yeah, man. But his fucking road signs, dude, they're all over Southern Maryland. I mean, I live down Brooms Island, dude. All the way to the end of Brooms Island, you see it signed. Yeah. I'm like, dude. Like, somebody drove all the way back here to put a sign down.
He has, again, you know, signs is where you designate it to one person, and, you know, they can make anywhere from $1 to $3 a sign.
Right.
You figure you got 200-300 signs. Like, Tree Man puts out probably 200 to 300 signs every weekend.
Right.
So that's a nice hustle. That's a nice living for someone that only works on a Friday and a Sunday. Right. And so that's what I did. I identified someone that could use a little extra income, but was responsible enough to do this no matter what. Mm-hmm. And it ended up working out. They had a job. He was as a supervisor of a beer company doing training and things. And I was like, he was more system driven. I'm not a system driven individual. I'll tell you what I need, what I want, but I don't want to be the guy setting it up. I don't want to be typing it. That's just, I did that before. I don't like that kind of work. So this gentleman's name is Earlis Johnson. So he came in and he's all about systems and processes. Like, right. Why are we doing this? And why are we doing that? And is it on paper? How do we duplicate this process? And so it's been an easy transition because he's worked with me on the side, so he knows the business very well. And now he's working as like I was doing. He's in the community building the relationship with a lot of my customers. Right. You'll be meeting them at some point and sitting down and having a conversation. So it's been a very easy transition. It's been harder for me because I like to be in control of. Like, you take your baby and say, here, but
that's tough, man.
I have a good relationship, and I'm still involved, so it's.
I mean, like, do you still say you show up at the shop at 10 o'clock? I mean, do you know where every crew is, or you got to call him and be like, hey, man, so where's this guy working today?
No, I know everything. Still, right. It's never going to be that way unless I move to another state and start focusing on driving something else. Right now, and I'm still involved with the day-to-day operations, the vision, right. Making sure that they understand where we're going and keeping things straight, doing the Monday meetings and making sure that the operations are still, the targets are being met and things of that nature. So, no, I'm not hands off at all.
Right. Yeah, and for me, it's a tough thing to get rid, to delegate that responsibility to somebody else. But I know the importance of that because it takes so much time to do it that I know I'm lacking in other areas like the marketing or customer service or whatever. Instead of taking the time to go back out to the job, talk to the customer, shake his hand, collect a check, it's like, well, I got to run over here and look at the job for tomorrow, go line up the truck for this or go fix this. And it's a hard thing to kind of to get away from, even though I know how important it is to do what I should be doing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's kind of like I was telling you before I sat down, in the mastermind group that I participate in, I was told this 2 years ago, like, this is what you need to do. Again, some things take time, but it was something that I had on as a goal, like, start to move. I wrote down key positions first that I needed to fill.
Right.
And I filled everything else before I replaced me, kind of get me out of the way, but I can grow Dillon. It's like you will grow once you get out of the way. Yes, we've grown, but we talk about going to another level. And my goals for this year are really like next level. I've read this book a few years ago called Scale or Fail by Allison Maslin. And the Scale It process really talks about taking your goal and multiplying it by 5. So you create a number that's like unrealistic maybe, or how am I going to hit this?
Right.
But then she goes into like structuring your company, removing yourself, creating accountability with the people that you put in certain places and just get the hell out of the way.
Right.
And be the vision. And, think about how much more we can do on the job when we tell people what to do, right? That's kind of what we're doing. Like, they know their job. They're getting paid for it. You hold them accountable and just move out of the way. It's scary as hell.
Yeah, man. I mean, because you're putting a lot of trust into that person, like a lot, and not just the operations guy, but say your estimator or your sales team, like if you kind of try to get away from that aspect of it and you say, hey, Mr. Salesman or Mr. Sales Team, you guys are responsible for hitting these quotas. Well, if they don't, then, you ain't making money. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a problem.
But the crazy thing about not making the money, you will know it before it hits you. Like, if you're checking in and there's accountability, you'll be ahead of the curve because, you can set things in place to move. So I guess now from a leadership perspective, not just being a boss CEO, but a leader, helping the people around you be better. Like, I had a meeting with my team preparing for 2022 back in November, And I was like, I was asking them what they thought success was, right? And most people think success, when I become a millionaire. But I said, no, success is not about money, is a byproduct of becoming the best version of yourself.
Right.
And so one thing that I'll push at Dillon's is, I want to help people be better. It's not about the money. That's all extra stuff. It's not about the house or the car. How can we be the best version of yourself so that when you come to work, that you're giving more. If your life's a wreck, your job can be, you're not going to get your job the most. And it's funny because Mark Frisco uses the same methodology at New Millennium. He works closely with his team members, and people might say, like, he's too involved, but, like, they go with their finances and things like that. Like,
right.
And he has a total workup on all his team members and know them, birthdays, favorite color, favorite food. Again, it's intimate, but this is how I feel like, we're small business owners. It is intimate.
Yeah.
They're helping us build our family's future and things of that nature. So help them be better. That trust is there, and I feel like I can hand more things over because I've taken the time to bring them up.
And I think part of it too is to have them feel comfortable enough to come to you and be like, hey man, I'm having a hard time with this sale, or hey, my number is going to be short this month. I need some help, or what can I do, or whatever.
That's exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
They got to be comfortable enough to come to you and ask those questions, and to just have an open conversation about it.
I totally agree.
It's a hard thing to do though, man. I mean, because I'm living it, dude. I know, like, trying to get to a certain level and like a certain stature of business without, like, I guess, overextending yourself too quickly.
Yeah.
Because like you see the, like, what you're getting into, and then you're like, well, damn, man, like, I'm really hoping this pans out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because if it doesn't, man, it's like I'm gonna have to make some changes.
But think about this, right? Like, you and I are both are go-getters, right? We're not gonna quit, right? Like, you're gonna figure it out.
Right.
And I think that's it. Like, I don't expect to win at everything, but we do know if there's an issue or something that we start a new venture or whatever and it doesn't go the way, we're gonna do everything in our power to make it succeed. And I think that's what separates the winners from the losers. We identify the problem and we go to fix it. And I think it will work if you keep that mindset, not just be like, oh my God, and just let it flop. But we're going to do whatever it takes to make it work. And that's the difference in our business.
And, that's something that I look for in my key guys too, man. Like, the people that I work with, I need them to be able to solve problems themselves and go out there and just be a go-getter and not let it not just throw their hands in the air and be like, well, we lost this one, guys, Like, I want people that are able to make decisions and then be accountable for that decision when I ask them why they did that.
I totally agree.
Because everybody makes bad decisions, man. I mean, people make mistakes, but you just got to be man enough to own it. You know what I'm saying? And I think I respect that in somebody that just makes a decision, stands by it, and then at the end of it, even if it was the wrong decision, they can just say, well, this is why I did it. It might not have been the right one, but, it is what it is. I made that decision myself.
Yeah.
So
that's the difference between, I guess, your leaders and the people that work with your leaders. The leaders going to be the ones going to be in the front of the pack. They're going to be the ones say, I made a mistake and own it, right. And we're all looking for those, those leaders, those key players. I'm doing interviews now, and it's funny, man, you're going through like 40 applicants and barely even get 2 people that you feel like, you're on the fence about those 2, but they're the best 2 out of 40 people.
Right.
And then,
So when you do the interview process like that, do you have I would assume you have like a budget for the position. What if you get somebody that sits in front of you and they're a little overqualified and they need more money than what you
I
can
just
afford?
had one of those.
Yeah, there's a reason I asked the question too. You know what I'm saying? So like I'll be talking to you and you're like, well, I've done this, this, and this, and I was making this, and this is what I can do, and damn, well, you would really be able to do it, but I don't know if I can afford you, man. Like,
I'm glad you asked that question. You know why? Because off the record, I think I have. If you're looking for someone, a guy just came across us that I think would be perfect for what you do, and I'll share. We'll talk about it, but it's okay. You toss it around, but it's like. The main thing is still staying within your budgets.
Right.
And
you have to.
But I ask certain questions because there's one individual that I interviewed that was, a little overqualified, a little high price for me, but could do the job and do it very well. But he needed a certain amount of money to take care of his lifestyle. This is what I'm used to making, and this is what I want. And I said, okay, I looked at it, but I do know he's still looking. I can't take a gamble on him because the next job that comes and it's going to pay him what he wants, he's gone.
Right.
So I make sure I drill in a little bit more with specific questions because I don't want to invest. Once I bring you in, you work, let's say 60 days, 90 days. I made an investment in you. You got uniform, you got all this stuff, my time, and now you're gone.
Right. The main thing is your time. And then once they leave, you're back at square one doing it yourself, and then you got to start the interview process over again.
Yeah.
So, I know, man. So, I mean, that's just that's something that I've ran into. You get qualified candidates that sit down for an interview, and when you're talking to them in the back of your head, you're like, damn, man, like this would be a great fit. You definitely do the job, but I can't afford that money for that position,
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm with you.
And that's a tough thing too. But I know that's even done on the bigger corporate ladder too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they have budgets, and you're only going to make so much at a certain level,
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. That's just one of the many issues that I've come across the last few weeks. I guess your growth, man. I mean, getting into the seal coating and stuff. I mean, are you looking to expand locations? Are you going to stay in Calvert and just hit all of Southern Maryland, or buy another shop location, or what?
So for 2022, our goal is to keep our base in Calvert, but we're going to be focusing on getting more into Anne Arundel this year. We're already in Charles County. We do some PG County, but we're going to look to stretch. We're looking at a new retail place, a new piece of real estate to just get in for at least for the next, really just grow our business to the next level. We have ambition by 2020, before 2026, to really be, into the retail side of things, not just being a power washing company, but also selling power washing essentials. That's definitely one thing that I will touch on if I do move into this next location, probably in June sometime, and start slowly bringing that piece out in our business. So yes, it's a lot of moving parts for us, but it's all same industry stuff. And I feel like myself personally, I have a lot to give when it comes to knowledge and information in the power washing industry. Because think about this: lawn care companies, they're everywhere, but everybody has got a place. I feel that's going to happen in the power washing industry as well, where it's a simple startup. You're going to see probably in this year, you're going to see at least 10 to 20 more new power washing companies moving around, playing at whatever level they want to play at. Well, they got to find a place to get supplies. There is no place local. We all either online or we're going to Lithicum, and that's the one-stop shop for everybody. I want to at least keep them honest too, and get those guys 30 to 50 miles from Prince Frederick and have them come to us and buy supplies.
That's cool. So that's is that something that you're working on now? Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. I mean, that's wholesale, like retail, or I mean, what's that considered?
Retail. So
Retail?
We are a Dirt Killer representative right now. We're just not selling their products because we need a retail space to sell them, but we have been approved by Dirt Killer to sell their products. I feel like they have, there's so many other lines, but I know this product line very, very well for us. Cleaning essentials, detailing, and also, they also have a line of stain and sealers that we have access to, different companies, but also having access to other products and services that we can use for the pressure washing industry. Pumps and things, we have access, like some companies may use diaphragm pumps or Honda engines. We'll have access to all of that stuff. I just need a hub to be able to have a showroom, small showroom, where that I can bring in a certain amount of inventory.
Sure. So, I'm kind of, now that I have the second big dump truck and then this yard space here, I've been toying with the idea of stockpiling some aggregate materials like asphalt millings and stone and stuff. But then that kind of puts me in the retail world. And then you get into different, like, zoning shit and stuff like that. So it's something that I've been toying with because I have the capability now, but I haven't really, jumped in with both feet yet.
Yeah. That's the biggest piece of anything that, I'm looking at. It's practicality, how much, startup.
Right.
Plus, you have your state or local bylaws. Taxes. Everything's a tax issue.
Right.
So it does change the game. But one thing I want folks to know, Dillon's it's a trendsetter. I don't want to continue to play like everybody else is playing. We want to lead the industry and innovation. Like I said, we was the first company to be shooting the way we shoot a house. I've never used high pressure in a house back all the way down to 2001 when I got trained in this. So we've been the leaders in that low pressure. We called it low pressure, not soft wash. Is what we've always called it. So we were the leaders in the whole Southern Maryland area to do that.
Right.
So we still want to continue to lead.
And I know that's a good selling, like with the few customers that I've sold it on, it's a good selling point for the shingle roofs too.
Mm-hmm. And my business this year and shingle roofs grew. By 2-3 times from the prior year. People are starting to get more into it. Keep in mind, a lot of our customer base don't even know how we clean the house. And most people still think you say pressure or power wash is still what we lead with, not soft wash as a business name. It's still power washing. So they think you're blowing this big gun on a house, and a lot of people are afraid because of past experience and things of that nature. People have messed things up. But, this system is really effective because it's really chemical driven. The little bit of pressure we have in the water is not what cleans. I tell folks we clean, kill, and sanitize the surface of the house. It's not the water.
Right. So do you have to have any type of chemical application license with the state or the county or anything to do what you do?
No, so we don't transport. So we would have to have like hazmat and different things. If we went over 50 gallons, none of my trucks ever come nowhere near to moving, that much product around at one time. Because I've always kept all of my trucks contained. We operate out of vans or transits or things like that. This year will be the first time you see a flatbed and a pickup truck with tanks on it. I'm changing it up only because the vans tend to, the water, it destroys them.
They rust out.
I feel more confident having a bed. I can do a little bit more, rinse it a little bit better without destroying wiring and things of that nature. But a lot of my competition, I see tanks of 1,500 gallons of mixes on their trucks. So far, a lot of folks are not getting hit, DOT and all those different things as far as weight and then, hazmat and stuff like that. We do keep a MSDS on our trucks, so you're in the material safety data sheet, so you know what we carry and if anything was to happen to anyone. But that's why I don't use caustic chemicals. I just stay away from real heavy chemicals. That's why I support that Dirt Color brand.
Yeah, cool. It's good to know, man. And then your business, is it structured, would you say, more towards residential or commercial work right now?
My business is structured mainly towards residential, but we do a fair amount. Commercial still growing.
Right.
Commercial work is something, for me, it's about building relationships, and I think that's what's helping our commercial grow. Residential, it's like people have a need, they reach out. This year will be the first year we're going to go to the work, not wait for it to come to us. So you'll see probably in June we'll have door knockers going around really just saying, hey, we notice your roof, you mind, we leave your estimate, this is what we can do. Because there are, these lead services. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm more about helping my guys and the people that come and work for Dillon make sure they eat first and going to the customer and not waiting for them to come to me. I feel like we miss a huge opportunity by waiting for people to call us.
Right. And I agree with that. And that's something that, I have a commission salesman now, and I do some of that myself too, but go out there and introduce yourself and, point out some problems. But the door-to-door sales is tough, man. Like to find somebody that's willing to go out there and beat the street, man, and just knock on doors and shake hands. It's a tough business. But the sales gig like that, you can be successful, man. You can make a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
Like if you're good at it, you can really make some money.
College students.
Yep.
the Southern Maryland Community College, students are looking, they don't really want a 9 to 5. They don't want that. I'm talking like a 1 to 7. People hit the houses. Some field folks at home hit them right after they get home. Right. And they got a huge break between that. If you can hit, for me, if I can hit 100 homes, okay, let's say in the course of a week, one person can hit 100 homes in a day if they're, diligent, right? Let's say they do half of that. And you got 2 people. That's 100 homes per person. They work 5 days a week, man. You know how many homes they hit at the end of that week that I wasn't even going to get beforehand.
Right.
That's how I'm looking at it. I figure if I can play with the numbers and get access, tap on enough doors, if I can get 2%, 5%, that's more than I had before that I didn't even touch. And this is outside of my normal working area. This is going into other areas outside of my norm. Right. And growing a business. And once some men, they do what? They tell their friends, their family. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Repeat business, man, and referral business is the way to go.
Man, that's
once you're in, you're in. Just don't mess it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously like this business-to-business networking is a big deal too. I think it goes a long way. Again, that's why I jumped on the podcast bandwagon, get this going. And then I am interested in doing some of the I guess like the local networking with other business owners and stuff. So definitely get me some information on that stuff, man.
For sure, man. And I appreciate your time, man, and thanks for having us on.
Hey, ain't no problem, brother. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on and talking and, being transparent about what you got going on, the good and the bad and all that good stuff, man. Yeah. I mean, it goes along. People are interested, Yeah. I mean, it's a struggle, and I think people realize that. So it's fun to talk about. It's fun to talk to other people doing the same stuff. So
I think that's what's great about the community now. I mean, as a child, I don't think I was as into what was going on in business, but I think a lot of folks in our community didn't share a lot. I think this new generation approach now, we're much more, and all of us are all closely in age and kind of coming up where we saw our elders now, where they were doing their prime and really making it happen. So it's really nice to be a part of that new growth. We're taking our parents' place now. Right. Our grandparents are either older or moving on. And so it's nice to see that the new generation of future, leaders in our community and businesses in the community, coming together and sharing. We all going to win together. That's
right. Yeah, you got to, man. I mean, really, and I think that's the age that we grew up in, with the whole internet and social media and all that. I mean, it's something that's been around for us where we know how to utilize it for the good. I mean, I think there's some bad in it, but I think we know how to utilize it for the good for the most part. Agree. So, well, all right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming out, buddy. It was really a pleasure.
Thanks
Good talking to you.
Thanks again, my friend.
All right, brother. I'll see you, man.